Hi, I'm Hillary. I've had trichotillomania for 23 years, and today I am going to continue talking about the reasons why I started to pull. And yes, I'm an almost 40-year-old woman with this hairdo. 'Tis the season for mental breakdowns, manifesting through this. In part one of my reasons why I started to pull, I talked about the nurture reasons. If you've not seen that video, go check it out. I had a weird childhood, and that most likely contributed to my pulling, I feel like, more than the nature reasons, but they both contributed, and I want to talk about both. Now, there are some studies that say that trichotillomania is genetic or has genetic tendencies. I'm not sure how much I agree upon those things because they're twin studies that show that they run in families and twins would have then the nurture component. My family, there's no one in my family that has hair pulling, but my family is riddled with anxiety and depression, and that goes hand in hand with an OCD, impulse control, hair pulling. But I do feel like there is a nature component that contributed to mine specifically. When I was around 16, I was diagnosed with rheumatic fever. Um, I went to the doctor for some random reason, and she was like, "Okay, anything else that you want to talk about?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, it's probably nothing, but I have these nodules underneath my forearms and my shins." And she went, "Huh?" Her concerns were validated with a reading from an EKG machine to show that my heart was affected by most likely strep. I don't recall getting very sick, so they assumed that I just had walking strep, and it triggered an autoimmune response to give me rheumatic fever. Now, this autoimmune response can actually be triggered in rheumatic fever, which affects more your joints and heart, or in something called PANS. I'm going to have to read this: pediatric acute onset neuropsychiatric syndrome. I think is just one more condition that is rarely heard of or talked about and also interesting. So you should look it up. But the autoimmune response typically attacks the basal ganglia of the brain and can trigger these types of behaviors like trichotillomania because of the inflammation. The onset of these let me read it, neuropsychiatric issues like OCD, tics, anxieties, behavioral changes can be very sudden. And that is the time that I started pulling as well. So, a link between strep throat infecting your body in getting mad and having an autoimmune response affecting your heart and brain, causing you to pull out your own hair, have tics, have joint pains. Just what? For the time being, my heart is just fine. I had to do bicillin shots every month for about 5 years. Those things suck. If you've ever had it, it's basically trying to put a peanut butter shot and you're watching the nurse inject it and she's just trying to squeeze that thing through the needle. And then you have a lump in your hip for a while. It's real fun. Did that to help prevent any more infections so that my heart could heal. And it looks like it did work. I may have to get valve replacements in my future, but with every 5 years, I have to get echocardiograms to monitor it. Anyway, I apologize for this video. I feel like it's all over the place, but wanted to share What I feel again is an interesting feature of trichotillomania and how it can manifest. So be mindful of strep. A lot of people just think, oh, it'll heal. It's a virus. Your body will fight it off. It can cause some things to happen, though. So if you've been recently sick with it and start noticing nodules, that's not the only sign, by the way. I wanted to look it up so I can give you accurate information, but rheumatic fever symptoms appearing weeks after strep throat often include migrating joint pain, swelling on the knees, ankles, and wrists, a fever, pinkish rash with odd edges, painless lumps, nodules under the skin, fatigue, stomach pain, and jerky movements, chorea, affecting joint, skin, heart, and nervous system. Super neat. I only had the nodules, and I'm very glad that I brought it up in a random doctor's appointment that had nothing to do with it. But with that, I was able to prevent any more damage to my heart. And so, more information that I would love to share with those because I doubt most of you have ever heard of that. So, wash your hands, like, comment, share, do whatever, and let me know if you've ever heard of this because I didn't.